Before we even begin, one thing I'm going to say is I hate presentations, and not because I'm nervous or whatnot. I've spoken on many stages. I hate presentations because you all sit there and you're watching a bunch of different slides and you're trying to figure out how you're going to implement everything that you just learned today, tomorrow. You're going to try to figure out how to implement that in your business. It doesn't really work. So, what I want to do is I want to kind of talk a little bit about the market domination method, how we use it in our agency, how I help clients use it. And then, if it's okay with you, we could kind of do some Q&A. We could kind of go deep and tactical. I learn a little bit about you. You tell me how you're running your business and how this could work on your business. And I think this is where I can provide the most value. Because one thing I'm going to talk about is a lot of theory behind this, but put into practice, it works best if I get to speak to you, you tell me a little bit about your business, and we can kind of put it in practice. So, the market domination method, how to grow a hyper profitable 7-figure business. So, before that, who this works for. So this works for agencies that are looking to scale. This works for coaches, consultants, successful businesses that want to increase their revenue without spending a fortune on marketing. Entrepreneurs who want to achieve more freedom, profits, and success in their business. So pretty much, if you're a business owner and you're doing marketing, this works. Trust me, we've used this across many different niches. This works. So what's on the agenda? We're going to talk about the problems facing not only agencies but businesses today. What compound layering is, because that's the premise behind the market domination method, and the 5 key levers of a business. Those are the 5 levers that you can pull at any time to generate instant revenue and profits for your business. And then we're going to talk about the importance of systems and automations, because you cannot scale, you cannot build a business if it's relying solely on you and you don't have any systems or any way to automate everything that you're doing. So my goal is at the end of this presentation, you could walk away. You have the tools to implement this in your business. This isn't just some theory of like, cool, this is a funnel. I love funnels. We work with funnels, but this isn't just some theory. You're going to go away. You're going to apply this to your business and you're going to see massive results right away. So the first question you should ask, if not already, is who am I and why should you even listen to me? Great question. So I first started off in business. I had a clothing brand, built it up into a presence in over 250 stores across North America, seen on actors, celebrities, movies, athletes. And I was lucky enough that I got mentored by Dave and John from Shark Tank, which is a whole different story in itself. We're still good friends today, but that's a story for another time. Then, after that business, I started getting a lot of different consulting offers. They saw how I built the business, and different brands started asking me how I could help them build their business. So, one of our first clients that we took on, they went from under $2,500 a month in sales to over $300,000, and this is all profitably in under 12 months. Same thing with other clients, took them from 6,000 to 614,000. This is all done profitably. This is all done using eventually what I now call the market domination method. I also tested this with a lot of smart people. I have a podcast called Perfectly Mentored. Feel free to look it up, download it, listen to it, where I've got to pick the brains of some of the smartest people on the planet. You're in a digital marketing conference, so hopefully you know a bunch of these people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Damon John, Russell Brunson, Grant Cardone, Rebecca Minkoff, Randy Zuckerberg, just some of the smartest people on the planet. But first and foremost, I couldn't do a slide without my family because my wife would kill me. But aside from that, this is my real job. Everything I do is for that. And hopefully you have your why of why you do what you do. My why is so that I could help people build their businesses, but at the same time, I could also build a business for myself that gives me the freedom to enjoy with my family. That's Chloe, that's Ryan, that's my wife, and that's what I love to do. I love spending time with them. So having a business that grows gives me that freedom. So whatever your why is, hopefully that you find it. So what's the problem? The problem, if you're following digital marketing in the last year or so, it's almost like some sort of Armageddon is happening. Right? Ads were once working, now they're not working. Traffic was coming, sales were working, but now they're not working anymore. So what kind of happened? So right now, almost everyone's facing tight margins, right? So that requires a major ROI from your ads. The other one is they're focused on one area. So you're relying too heavily on acquisition, and then the costs become higher. So you're relying too high on acquisition. The other thing is it's unpredictable. So you're wondering where your next client, where your next customer is coming from. These are all the things that are kind of happening slowly right now. And the most important thing right now is a lot of people are growing broke. And what that means is revenue is a vanity metric. Very easy to say, I made 300 million, but if you spend 500 million to make that 300 million, you are not building a business. You are actually growing broke. So are you banking money? That's the most important part. What else happened in the last couple of years? iOS 14.5, tracking kind of eliminated. iOS 15 made email marketing, which everyone was like, oh, at least email's safe. I own my list. That kind of destroyed that. So you have tracking, you have a loss of signal, you have platform performance. All these platforms are not playing nicely. They're not even reporting properly. The cost of advertising is going up on all these platforms. So that's because big players are entering the game. So you have big players that now are shifting their traditional media spend to online advertising. And then you have the small players, which I call the death by 1,000 cuts. Everyone saw what happened during COVID. They could go online, they could build their business online. So they started flooding the platforms with a lot of money. So that drives up the cost because all these platforms are bids, right? So it's how much you're bidding. So the competition becomes super important. Not prepared. 99% of the brands weren't prepared for this. They thought they could be all in on Facebook, drive Facebook to the end and make a ton of money. They weren't prepared. Wrong comps. So they're comparing things to things that don't make sense. So a lot of things that are going on right now is you have brands that are sitting there saying, well, look, COVID happened. My business was booming online. Now, my numbers don't add up. They don't even add up to LY, which is last year. And so it doesn't make sense, right? Because COVID was an anomaly. It was a unicorn. It should never be included in any measure of what you're doing because you had a time at the beginning of the COVID where attention on the platforms were at an all-time high and cost was at an all-time low because businesses were so scared they pulled their spend from the platform. So the smart businesses were the ones that tripled down on spend. They realized that. They went all in on that unicorn moment and they 5x, 10x. People were getting 10x returns on this platform at that time and paying cheap to get it because everyone was pulling spend from it. And then chasing their tails, right? So always in search of the latest hacks and tactics. You'll see, not only am I not a presentation person, I also don't make my presentation super sexy because I don't want to give you the sizzle, right? Otherwise, it's like building like a house of cards. It's all going to fall down. If you don't have the foundations, if you don't have what it takes to really build the business from an online marketing side of things, you're going to go bust. You're always going to chase your tail in terms of what went next. Okay, so I started this strategy. This strategy doesn't work anymore. What's the new strategy? Rather than chase strategies, got to stay true with what's tried and true. So the question you really want to ask is one that Jeff Bezos asked, and it's perfect. He said, I very frequently get the question, what is going to change in the next 10 years? And that's a very interesting question. It's a very common one. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? And I submit to you that the second question is actually more important than the two, because you can build a business strategy around the things that are stable in time, right? So it's such an amazing concept. We're all trying to look what's going to change. And we're trying to prepare for what's going to change, but you just saw 99% of the brands weren't able to predict what's going to change and they weren't able to be prepared for it. So what do you think is not going to change during that time? That's the better question you want to be asking your business because that's going to give you sustainability. That's going to allow you to scale. So what won't change? Having the right product, offer, service, right? That's a given. But if you don't have a good product, you don't have a good service, doesn't really matter anything you learn here. It doesn't matter what marketing techniques you do. It doesn't matter what agency you hire. It's just a quick way to go bust because you need a good product, you need a good service, and you really need to know how to craft a sales offer. Measuring everything is the wrong move. Measuring the right things is the right move. So you need to know in your business what moves the needle. Every morning, my assistant sends me around 15 different reports that I get every single morning at 9 a.m. I get it. It's in Slack. I get it again at 6 p.m. I need to measure things in my business of what's moving. I need to see what's going on with clients. I need to see what's going on in our own business. We measure everything because you cannot fix what you don't measure. What else is going to change? Dan Kennedy calls it the marketing triangle, right? That's the right message delivered to the right market using the right media is a guaranteed home run, right? So you need the right message, the right market, and the right media. The other thing, there's only 3 ways to grow a business. We could talk about the 5 levers. You could listen to a bunch of different presenters come on stage and talk to you about all the different ways you grow a business. They all fall into 3 ways, right? You need more customers, you can increase your pricing, and you need your customers to buy more often. Any way you can think of to grow a business falls into one of those three ways. Then knowing the right levers to pull, which is what we're going to talk about today. So, by the way, if you want any of this, you can take a screenshot of this. You could visit. I'll send you all the slides. I'll send you some other stuff as well. I'll put this up at the end as well. So, but just so you know, like you could have all that. I hate like some people take pictures of slides during presentations, and I'd rather you focus. So here you go. You can get all this. I promise it will be sent automatically. Give it a couple of hours and it will send. So the market domination method. Really came up with it when I started really getting learning about finance and investing, right? I started to look at like what all the different money masters were doing. And they all talked about compound interest. And Warren Buffett even says, my wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest. That's how powerful this thing is. So if you don't know what compound interest, it's little investments going over time, keep growing, keep growing. So if you get 5% returns instead of going for 80% returns, if you're getting 5% returns year over year, you keep reinvesting that and growing, it has a compounding effect that's monumental. So how does this apply to your business? So let's talk about the 5 key levers of business growth. So the 5 key levers: awareness. No one knows who you are, they can't do business with you. Let's settle that, right? If people need to find out who you are. So that could also be spending too much on ads. You need to understand, where are you getting your awareness from? How are people finding out about you? The next is lead generation. So I always say you don't have a traffic problem, you have a bad offer problem, right? So traffic is never really the problem. If you're sending traffic and not converting, it's not your traffic, it's your offer. So lead generation. How many of the people that are now hearing of you are raising their hand to work with you? They're sitting there saying, okay, I want more. I want to learn more. I want to book a call with you. I want your lead magnet. I want your PDF. We just saw someone give a presentation before where they offered a free ebook. How many of those people raised their hand and said they want the free ebook? He got the awareness. He had X amount of people in a room. But now how do you measure how many people raise their hand? Then you have conversion rate. Doesn't matter how good your marketing is if you can't close people. So how many of those people that raise their hand, what percentage are converting? Right? These are all numbers you need to measure inside your business. Then price. Usually people think, let's lower price, let's undercut everyone. That is a race to the bottom. I would advise everyone here, do not lower your price. Raise your price. Become more of a premium offer versus a race to the bottom, because you'll never win. And then buying frequency. Are your customers, or are people buying for you one and done? They may sign up for your service, they sign up whatever contract you have, and then they're done, they're gone. Or are they coming back and buying more often? So let's talk about the different ways that you could possibly do this. So let's talk about the problems first. The biggest problem with awareness is their outreach is singular. They all have one way of doing it, right? So they're going in on Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads. Maybe they're doing just direct mail or just PR. They just have one outreach, one way of doing things. And there's a rule, the rule of one. If you're doing one of anything, you're in big trouble. If you're relying on one of anything, you're in big trouble. One customer, one way of getting leads, you're in big, big trouble. You're a commodity, so you're focusing on price and you have no differentiating factor. Burning cash, spending too much money on ads without a return. So yes, there has to be a return on your marketing. Every single thing you do has to have a return. So people build beautiful websites, beautiful landing pages, and then they wonder, where is everyone? And then they don't have a budget to market it. Unfortunately, Field of Dreams, one of my favorite movies, that if you build it, they will come. Not true. They won't come unless you tell them to come. So what are the solutions to this? Diversify traffic. Find different ways that are underpriced attention for your audience. So I'm a big fan right now, and we do a lot of online marketing inside of our agency. And in my coaching program where I teach this, we talk a lot about ads, but I'm a big fan of direct mail. I'm a big fan of podcast ads, but I'm also a big fan of joint ventures. Joint ventures, if you don't want to spend a cent on any ads, joint ventures is the quickest way to grow a business. And what joint ventures is, you find someone in your industry who has the same type of audience that you have, but they're not competitors. So if you only sell t-shirts, you find someone who only sells pants. It's a very simplistic example, right? And you build a list and you do cross promotion with each other. You sit there and say, I'm going to give you a percentage of sales that come. You sell to your list. I'm going to sell to my list. It's a way to add revenue to your bottom line. It's a way to add revenue to them. Joint ventures, quickest way to grow a business. The value is created before the interaction. So using the above to pull them into an automated sequence so that they know, like, and trust you. So before any of your salespeople, or they visit the website, or after becoming a lead and they go to buy, before they get anything, they should be hit with either, this says email, but it's SMS, it's email, it's messenger bots, whatever you want to build that authority with them, to build that trust up, because that's how you also increase your show up rate on your calls, by the way. Profitable outreach, making sure your advertising is making money. We talked about that. You cannot spend money on marketing if you're not making money. Lead gen. So the problem, lack of predictability. So you have no way to capture leads. One of the best things I hear all the time is we don't need to spend any money on marketing. We rely on referrals. Referrals is great. It's proof that your business works. However, can you predict when your next referral is going to come in? That's my next question to them. When's your next referral going to come in? Like, I don't know, when the client finds someone that they need. Then it's not predictable. We want to build predictable, sustainable, growing businesses. That's the way that you hit 7 figures and above. That's the way to really dominate your market. So when referrals are great, but you also can't scale that. You can't sit there and say, hey, Tim, thanks for the referral. Can you send me 19 more? Right? Doesn't really work like that. You can't scale. Lack of value. So you're not even giving them a good enough reason to book a call with you. Right? So like I said, that's in the build the know, like, and trust you factor so that they want to do business with you. No follow-ups. So one of the best is sending people to your website or sending people lead magnets without doing any follow-up is like holding a bucket that has a bunch of holes and pouring water in it. It's a leaky bucket. And then blaming everything. My ads don't work. My website sucks. They blame everything, but they have a leaky bucket. Follow-up is crucial to any sales. If you speak to any salesperson, they'll tell you the money, the fortune is in the follow-up. However, how many times do people think follow-up? You send an email saying, I want abandoned cart email. Maybe they'll send an email saying, hey, just wanted to check in on you. Just wanted to follow up, which is probably the worst thing you could write in an email because that's instant. I'm not reading your email. I want to follow up. Someone taught me this is a great trick. You could use it. It's circling back, just a different way. Just wanted to circle back to this conversation because follow-up is trigger for someone reading it, trigger that it puts them in a sales process again, and you want to do everything to eliminate that. So fortune on the follow-up. We have a follow-up schedule automated. That's crazy. I mean, if you go through our funnel and you're qualified and you go in, there's no escaping us. We pretty much own you from every different platform possible. So we'll just keep staying in front of you because we know now may not be the right time. And we're okay with that, but maybe later will be. And if we don't continue getting in front of you, right? So it comes back to awareness. If they don't know you exist, they can't do business with you. If they forget you exist, they can't continue to do business with you or do business with you in the future. So follow up. Look at your follow-up and sit there and say, how can I, 30, I would say 10Xs, but I would say 30X it because most people have like one email follow-up and that's about it. So solutions, automated lead capture, making sure everyone who becomes aware is captured. Anyone who comes here or anyone, you go to an event, you have a trade show booth, you're running an ad, anything that comes to your site, you have a pixel on your site. Anything that comes in, you're capturing people. Have a high value offer. Offer them a strong reason to book a call with you. So I'll tell you in our agency, we offer what's called a diagnostic call. Because everyone offers a strategy call. I don't want to get on a phone with a strategy call, but we offer a diagnostic call, right? And we keep split testing this, by the way, in our emails. Like if you sign up for our email, you'll get a strategy call email and you'll also get a diagnostic call email. We keep testing to see which one has a higher click rate. It goes back to just always testing and always measuring. So give them a reason to want to book that call. Follow up. We talked about this. Set up automated emails, text to get calls booked. So if you're in sales, if you offer a service and you have a call booked, have your sales team send out an SMS before the call. Always an SMS reminder, an email reminder, an SMS reminder. And we'll talk about different ways also. One of the things you'll see coming up on one of the slides is we do video, right? So if you and I have a call in an hour, you'll get a video from me saying, hey, what's your name? Max? Max, hey Max, it's Jason. Just want to say I'm excited for our call in an hour. See you there. If you have any questions beforehand, just let me know. But I'm looking forward to chatting with you. And we SMS it. What do you think the conversion rate on the max showing up to a call is after that? A lot higher. So conversions, right? Here's the problem. No system to convert leads to clients. So you have a high amount of leads coming in, but you get ghosting. That's what we just talked about, right? People are ghosting you on the calls. They're not showing up. Lack of qualification. Time spent wasted on the wrong people, right? You spend too much time dealing with the wrong type of customers or prospects or people coming to your site. You're sending the wrong type of traffic. Everyone and anyone is a client. So we're just going to send everyone there. No sales call structures. So if you have a service piece and you have a sales team, them not having a script that you as the owner, or if you're in charge of marketing, you should work on this with your sales team, because marketing and sales need to talk to each other. If you don't have a sales script, you're in big trouble because you can't measure. I can't sit there and say, Julie is better than John because they're not reading the same script. What if Julie is reading the script and John isn't? You kind of have to measure everything. So who's using the script? So solution, automated systems to convert leads, sending out emails before, during, and after. Video text before the calls is what we just spoke about. Qualified only leads, having a proper funnel in place to qualify. So the qualification happens before the call, not on the call. Anything you do in marketing should qualify your people before they even hit your homepage, right? You want to call them out. You even want to say that, like when we used to run ads for the agency, we used to sit there and say, no tire kickers, right? And we used to sit there and say, if you're not in this X range in sales, you're not the right fit. We would call them out and qualify them because we don't even want to waste money on them. Don't click our ad, right? We're getting billed for it. So you want to qualify before and on the call. High paying, low maintenance clients. You want to work with people who pay you more. The ones that are willing to pay you $50,000 a month are way less headaches than the ones wanting to pay you $2,000 a month, right? The higher they pay you, the less of a headache they are. I know that sounds really weird, but if anyone here deals with high paying clients, you'll understand that. They really take up less time and they understand, right? Ever have a call with someone who you're pitching them $2,000? It's, okay, what are my guarantees? What's my refund policy? How am I going to get this? How am I going to get that? It's like an hour of, they're already looking for an out. Close a $50,000 client, they'll sit there and say, where do I send the money? Send the contract, we'll have it signed in 2 days. It's simple. Conversions is also the easiest thing in all of this that you could control, right? Because you could A/B, you could have different landing pages, you could have trust, you could have reviews, so many different things you could control. Conversion rate, especially if you're in e-commerce, conversion rate is the easiest thing that's inside your control than anything else, right? You can't control Facebook. You can't sit there and say, be better, Facebook, today than you were yesterday. There's so many factors that come into it, but conversion rate's entirely under your control. So the next one is price. The problem, you're not profitable. So you're closing people, you're getting customers, but you're going broke, thin margins. Race to the bottom. You need to lower your pricing in order to compete. And then lack of cash flow. So you're just not banking money. Cash flow is king. So what's the price solution? Know your numbers and price accordingly. So how much are your employees bringing in revenue-wise to your business is a number that I guarantee you most people, if you have employees here, you never even thought of. I'll give you a perfect example. Pick any employee. Let's call it an assistant. They're not even responsible for bringing in sales. You have an assistant, you should measure how much is she worth to the company in terms of revenue. And the way you do that is, let's say I'm the owner. I'm a one-man show, for example. One-man show, I have one assistant, and the assistant's supposed to free up my time so I could close more money. That's the whole point of having the assistant. So I can measure how much money is she worth to the business because she frees up my time to go do that. Every single one of your employees should have a number of what they're worth. And another trick that a mentor taught me a long time ago is once a quarter, fire all your employees in your head. Don't go out and go literally fire all your employees, but in your head, fire all your employees. And now try to imagine what it would look like and which ones are actually needed, right? Which ones actually contribute the most, right? And that's how you run a business. So I'm not trying to build you a 900,000 person business that makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. You could make millions of dollars with a tight run company, right? Where you don't need elaborate stuff. So Look at your employees. How much money are they bringing in revenue-wise? Everyone should be bringing in money to the business. That's the key takeaway here is there is no person in your business that should not be responsible for bringing in money to the business. And then the flip side to that is everyone should be compensated for bringing money to the business. So if you have an assistant and they know someone who brings in, they should get the same commission as a salesperson would if they brought in business. Everyone in your business is a salesperson. Everyone in your business should be paid and compensated for bringing in sales. That's how you reward them. So the way we like to say it is your salary is this. Your limit is millions, right? Because you go bring in business, you'll get paid for it and we'll write the check. So every single thing, every single person should be a salesperson in your company. Don't join the race. The race to the bottom, lowest pricing makes you a commodity, not an asset. It actually hurts your brand. It actually hurts everything in your business, and it's the quickest way to go under. Cash flow matters. So one of the things you could possibly do, we do this in the agency, is every client sits there and says, what's our discount? So great, you want a discount? We reward discount for 2 ways. 1, length of contract, and 2, cash up front. You want to sign a 12-month contract, we'll give you a little bit of a discount, right? Then, or we sit there and say, hey, if you pay us X amount up front, guaranteed, right? Your monthly payments will come this, but you'll still have to sign a longer term contract. That's the only ways we give discount because everyone sits there and says, I'm going to give 10% off, just 10% off, just 10% off. Do the math in your business over time, how much money you're losing by giving 10% off. It's crazy. We give away discounts for no reason. No reason. And it's because a lot of times we're insecure. We don't think we can close a deal. So we think a discount will be rewarded. And they're not even asking for that discount. Sometimes we just throw out a discount. We sit there and say, oh, but if you sign today, it's 10% off. Maybe they were going to sign anyways. So always look, and that's where it comes out again to measuring everything in your business. So buyer frequency. The problems, churn and burn, always looking for new clients, new customers because they come and then they leave. You need profitable acquisition. This is a tricky one. Everyone wants to be profitable in acquisition, but it's getting harder. Platforms are becoming more expensive, right? So the only way to do that is to raise price or increase their average order price. But we'll talk about that in a second. Lifetime value and repeat customer rate are the 2 most important numbers in your business because it allows you to scale and spend more on acquisition. So I'm going to pick on Max because he's the closest one here and he's the one that gave me his name. So now that's a trick for you. Don't ever give me your name because I can only remember one and I'll just pick on you. Max and I are in the same business. Max needs to make 3x on his advertising dollars in order to be profitable. I sit there and say, I don't care. I just want to break even on my marketing. Maybe I'll lose a little bit because the back end of my business is so dialed in. I know that if a customer comes in and we lost a little bit of money, they're going to buy from us 6 more times throughout the year. And I'll make my money back that way. I have it all dialed in. Who do you think can scale more? And who do you think is going to build a bigger business? Hint, it's me. Because I don't need to be profitable in acquisition. So I'm not preaching don't be profitable in acquisition. I'm preaching know your numbers. But I'm preaching the way to really grow the business is the more uncomfortable you could be in terms of like profit on acquisition, the easier it is to build your business. And that becomes by focusing on your back end, which we spoke about, buyer frequency, repeat customer rate, lifetime value. And lifetime value is a weird number because no one really has a lifetime to wait for to see that number, right? You're not going to wait and you're going to be 90 years old and be like, Steve was only worth $90 more. Go figure. No, you have to look at it over 60, 90-day period and then over a year period. That's it. And then if you have customers that stay a long time, you kind of look at it over multiple times. But I would look at 60, 90, and then 12 months. Discount. So we talked about discounts already. Communication, direct mail, SMS, email, phone calls. Always communicate with your customers. Don't take for granted that you have a customer, they're going to sign up again. Always communicate. And if you see, I gave multiple ways because communicate with them the way they want to be communicated to. Not the way you want to, not the easiest way for you to do it, but don't do it like, hey, it's just easier to send out emails being like, hey, what's up? Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're happy. If they like SMS, send them a text. If they like direct mail, send them a letter in the mail. Communicate the way they want it. And an educated client/customer does not leave you. Everyone's afraid to give too much because they're like, I don't want my customers to know the tricks of the trade. I don't want them to know this. Then they'll never use me. That's a lie. It's the quickest way to get burnt. There's no secret sauce. Everything is available on the internet with a Google search and YouTube. I could learn anything I want in the world, right? There is nothing you could do. You may be very good at what you do, but there's nothing you could do that's proprietary or secret. Like I'm in the advertising space, right? So I hear from agencies all the time that are like, oh, we can't show you under our hood because it's proprietary. It's Facebook ads. I mean, it's proprietary to Facebook how it works, not proprietary to you. I want to know where my money's spent. We spend way more time educating our customers than we do actually like. It's getting close to the amount of work that we actually put into running the accounts because we want them to always understand what's going on. Because if they know that, hey, the cost per impression is really high today, they don't freak out because we just told them the cost per impression across the board is up. We show them an article Facebook just brought out. We give them information. We give them relevant information. So that may not be. So what ways can you do that? If there's industry news going on in your industry, don't assume that they know about it. Be the leaders to them, that you know your industry. Because they'll want to keep working with you. This person knows what's on the forefront. And then give your twist on it. Sit there and say, hey, did you know that if you're in t-shirts, cost of cotton has gone up, 350%, right? So what's going on? The way we're looking at it is across the board, our clients have to increase by 10%. What are you doing? And you spend time doing it that way. You become their advisor. The way I look at it is you have a fiduciary responsibility to your customers and to your clients. And the way you do that is you always protect them, protect their money, protect everything about them. They'll never leave you. And that's buyer frequency. So the formula, it's a little bit of math. And I know we just came from a dark room and you had lunch. And I know this isn't the math time. Trust me, I wasn't great in math. But if you take the 5 key levers, and that's what you do. You get 10,000 web visitors because we're using web visitors as an awareness example. And 10% of those 10,000 are interested. They raise their hand. They want the lead magnet. 10% convert. Your price is $500. That's the average order value. And we could talk about average order value. I think that's a wrong term because it's misleading. But buyer frequency. They buy from you 2 times throughout a year. Well, then there's the math. That's what you do in sales. You get 10,000 people in front of you in a year. 10% are interested. That's 1,000. 10% close. That's 100 times 500 equals 50,000. They buy from you 2 times. It's $100,000 in sales. Pretty simple, not complex math. So how does the market domination method work? Well, we take the figure of compound layering and we sit there and say, most people are going to tell you one example. Go all in on this advertising. Go all in on that. What happens if we got incrementally better in all 5 areas? Right? Then we don't have to work so hard. We don't have to go all in and put all of our efforts into one shot. What if we just got incrementally better? But for this focus, Einstein said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. And you'll understand exactly what this means in a second. So what if we doubled every single number? Well, you remember this was the example. You got 10,000. What if we doubled it to 20,000? What if instead of closing 10%, what if 10% weren't interested? You come up with a better lead magnet and it became 20%. What if your conversion rate got better? You worked on sales, you got a little bit better and the 10% became 20%. What happens if you raise your price from 500 to 1,000? What happens if buying frequency, you were able to double it? Instead, get them to buy from you 4 more times instead of 2. Well, you get a 32x return in your business. So you go from 100,000 to 3.2 million. Now, I skipped an important part here where I ask, what do you think happens if you double every one area? And everyone in the room says, double your sales, triple your sales. No one has ever guessed 32x, right? Because it doesn't make sense, but neither does compound layering. You sit there and say, for the first 3 years, if I double my penny every single year for the first 18 years, I get nothing. 36 years later, I'm a multimillionaire. Doesn't make sense, but when you do the math, it does. So I get it. You can't double every single thing, right? I can't double my price. I can only sell, 2 times a year. I can't double 4 times a year. You don't need to. Think incremental. What if you got 10% better at every single one of these things? Well, you pretty much doubled your business, right? And you just got 10% better. That's, not bad. Not much work to 10% increase in everything. So I just gave you a drastic example to 32x your business. But instead, what if you just got a little bit better? What happens If you went and awareness, you were able to double. Lead gen, you were only able to increase by 6%. Conversion rate, you're only able to increase by 1%. Your price, 0%. And your buying frequency, 1%. Well, that's a lot of math that I don't have on top of my head. But if you email me and you go through that blueprint, I'll give you a calculator that literally you plug in any single one of those metrics. You plug in your starting points. Here's what we do. And you plug in any single one of those, you'll see the instant effect to your business. Because, like I said, I can't do that math. So I built a tool that does the math for me, right? It's like the teachers who told you, like, you can't use a calculator. I'm like, but I'll always use a calculator. So your plan for growth, right? So here's the summary we covered. Market domination method is the key to massive growth. If you don't think 32xing your business is massive growth, you're in the wrong room. I mean, you need some sort of hype room because this is the wrong place. Like, because this is like, that's massive. The 5 key levers of your business: awareness, lead gen, conversion, price, and buyer frequency. And the most important thing is incremental growth versus all-in tactics, right? Thank you. That's that. But like I said, I wanted to kind of end a little bit early because if you do have questions, I'd love to get to know you guys. I'd love to sit and talk to you. I'd love to see how, if you have any questions in your business where you're stuck, this is what I do. So again, I run an agency called JPORT Media. We do online marketing. We concentrate mostly on paid media, but I also run a group coaching program called the Market Domination Coaching Program, where I teach the principles of this. So I've seen almost every different type of business. I've audited a lot of different businesses. So I mean, pretty much business to business and marketing. So I'd love to hear about you if you have any questions about marketing and how any of this could affect your business. We could spend the rest of the time doing that. If not, I just gave you an 18-minute and 6-second break. So I hope you have questions because that's where I best work.
Thank you, Jason. If there are any questions, there's a catch box right here, Jason, that you can throw. The challenge is not to break any bottle on the table. That's the challenge.
I got it.
Any question from anyone? Yep. Tough one. Oh,
great.
Hey, Brad, that's from softball.
Yeah. I had a question because all of that it's really, really interesting, and that talks to me because my business is increasing the traffic of a website, but I own a business too, and I need to increase the conversion rate. I need to increase the price. I need to do all of that, but my problem is time. I don't have the time to do the right follow-ups. So do you have advice on how to automatize a certain amount of tasks? Do you use tools? You talked about video, maybe you use VideoArt, that kind of tools. So can you advise on a practical aspect of things?
Yeah, so let's just add more context to it, if you don't mind. Where are you spending most of your time that you don't have the time? Because every time someone says they don't have time, when we do a time audit, we find like 6 hours in their day. So I'm not saying that's you, but where are you being tied down the most? Where's the bottleneck for you?
I'd say the most less effective time I have is the follow-ups I do manually on LinkedIn, on the email, all that kind of task, and of course with my actual clients to educate them as you do.
And are you a one-man? You're a one-man show?
The company is 70 person, but here in Montreal we're 3. So.
Okay. And so you're responsible for doing all that stuff?
I'm responsible for achieving the goals, but I don't do everything alone. We have a team in France, and we have 2 other persons here in Montreal.
And what are you using for email?
HubSpot.
So HubSpot. I mean, I'm an Infusionsoft Keep fan, but HubSpot allows you to set up automated emails.
Yeah, with sequences.
With sequences where you could tag, you could literally set up a year's worth of follow-up in there, right? And do a lot of those things. I think it's really, to answer your question, the best way possible is you always have to look where your bottleneck is. What am I spending too much time doing that's taking away time from actually producing the results that I need to achieve? So if it's administrative stuff, just for example, let's say it's administrative stuff, easiest thing you do is hire an assistant. And you don't need to go out and pay 50. Like, I have an assistant. But the truth is that assistant cost makes me way more money because, like I said, I measure what everyone brings to the business, but it frees me up because if I have to start doing all the manual entering and billing and all that, I have to do my own bookkeeping instead of having a bookkeeper all the time, pulls me away from what I need to do, and that's growing the business. So it's looking at where your bottleneck is. So if your bottleneck is I'm sending out too many emails, manual emails, that could be automated. A lot of it could be automated because you can tag and you can sequence a lot more. I think the issue with a lot of these platforms is I love the fact that you guys are paying for HubSpot because a lot of people sit and say HubSpot's too expensive, or they give a lot of different examples and then they leave. The problem is they don't know what 90% of it could do. There's a lot of power behind these platforms. So I would sit there and say, okay, if I'm sending out these emails, let's schedule them, let's break them down, let's segment our list, let's make sure we have everything segmented. It's going to take time in the beginning, but it's going to save you a ton of time in the future. So there is no easy answer of like, how do I snap my fingers and I have a segmented list? You are going to have to go backwards a little bit, but the most important way for you to really do all that stuff is, like I said, always solve by the bottlenecks. People hire, they think they say, I need to go hire more salespeople. I need to go hire more of that. No, because if you're the best salesperson, if you're the best customer service person right now, and that's what you're king on. If you leave, all your customers are going to leave, right? Well, then great. Don't pull yourself out of that position now. What position is taking you away from that time? Well, if you're also setting up, like being responsible for all communication, well, automate that. Plan it out in advance. We send an email every single day. I don't like scheduling the email every single day because I read it off the top of my head, right? I've been doing this long enough. I love copy. And I'll write in the morning what comes to my mind because trying to plan out in advance a week's worth of emails for me, it sounds like a nightmare. So I'm more like on the fly type of person, but it's knowing yourself. So again, no real answer to that of like, what's the first thing I need? It's solve the first thing that's preventing you from doing what you actually need to do. If you have KPIs in your business, right? You're responsible for doing certain things inside your business. Well, if you're not doing that,
yes, of course,
then there's a problem.
Trying to follow up.
Sure. I could hear you, but they want to use the.
I'm going to try to. Oh wow, that's cool. Thanks very much for your presentation, by the way. Want to follow up though on the gentleman's question regarding the bottleneck in your reference to emails. In your presentation, you did talk about having those emails going out and constant communication with your clients, and then you touched on the automation. Now, you just mentioned that you do like to do your own on the fly, but how do you find the effectiveness of that automated messaging out? If we look at milestones or certain scheduling, we can essentially, as you said, schedule it. We use Monday. You can use that and schedule it out for a year in advance.
Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that everyone follows what works for me, right? It's knowing, like I said, like I told him, it's knowing what works for you. I happen to be more effective when I can sit there and write good copy in the morning than I am being like, okay, I got to plan this out for the year. If you could do that, that's great. The problem is you're missing a couple of things. One is you're missing industry news, right? So you can't plan out industry news because if you can, I mean, you wouldn't be in this room. You'd be a billionaire. This would be your conference, and I'd be thanking you for speaking here. But you can't plan that out for a year. So I think there's a difference between campaigns of what you're sending out, and then how to set up the most important parts, which are the flows, right? So a campaign is like industry news happened, cool. Make a note of it, keep it, and then every Friday send a weekly roundup to your clients, right? That's industry news. What I was talking about more from the automation side is someone booked a call, but they didn't show up on the call. They should be getting emails. Someone booked a call, but the call hasn't happened yet. They should be getting emails. Someone booked a call, they showed up on the call, they should be getting emails, right? Every list should be segmented and automated. Someone took the lead magnet but never booked a call. They should be getting emails until they actually book a call or threaten to call the police on you. Like that's literally how I look at it, right? You should always be hitting them. And then not only that, you have, we target those people as much as possible. Obviously, we have iOS issues and tracking problems, but we always try to stay in front. So I hear what you're saying. Some stuff cannot be. And if you can write a bunch of like sales letters in advance and you can put them out and ready to go, this one's going to go out Monday, this one's going to go Tuesday. So we have what's called the Content Flywheel in our business. And that really what that is like everything is like planned out. So on Monday we have angle to strategy, angle to blog, angle to our podcast. Like we have everything set up. So it's easy for me if I know that on Monday, it's supposed to be an angle to a strategy session. Cool. What angle is going on? And we do what's called something that I suggest everyone do is what's called an objection audit. So you're nodding your head, so I'm assuming you know it. It's pretty much if you have customers, look at what every possible objection they could have of working with you. And then so we have it on an Excel spreadsheet, which is like objection, big claim, like what's the big claim that we have to back it, proof number 1, proof number 2, proof number 3, and go. So if I know, I could always look back at the objection audit and be like, okay, so price. Cool. So I'm now going to write an email about like, when was the last time I spent $10,000 on something? Right. I was so scared to pull $10,000 and then I just write that email. Right. I go back to it and I start looking at all the different objections. Plus I listen, right? I listen to what on social media, what people are saying. I listen to what people are saying about the gurus and out there and what they're saying about everything. And I write based off those angles. That's me. But like not many people could pick up and from 9 to 9:30, from like 9:15 to 9:30, write an email that goes out, to their entire list and feel happy with it. I care more about the quantity going out and the fact that something's going out than they need to have it be perfect going out.
Thank you. It sounds to me like the answer's both, right? There's the automated that you can have your staff or your colleagues, if you've got a large enough organization, they can follow that practice, and then you can add to it the time sensitive or the timely information that's more personalized.
100%. Like you have to figure out what works best for your business. I'm a big fan of if it could be automated, do it. This is the one area that like my assistant hates me because it's the one thing that holds everything back. Because if at 9:15 I have a meeting, there's no email, and then it's like, Jason, where's my email? And then if I'm back to back, then I don't start writing it. Like, bless you. Then I don't start writing it. So I hold everything back, and that's a big problem. But I'm not here saying I'm perfect and I figured everything out. I'm telling you what the best practices were. If you could automate it, do it. Like that's the key because it will free you up and you're better off doing something else. If I needed to be on a sales call, trust me, I automate it or the email wouldn't go out. Sales is always number one. I'm very, very anal in how my day is structured. Like you want a meeting with me, it's during certain times. You want a podcast, we're filming a podcast, it's only on one day. All client meetings, if I have to be on client meetings, have to happen on one day. I'm just super, super anal in how my day is scheduled.
This is fun and all, but does anyone else want it? Yeah, there you go. I won't try.
Yeah, you said earlier, I think you showed average value of your basket or your average value of
average order value.
And you also said that acronym isn't too accurate, or is it? What would you?
So average order value is misleading because you could have someone orders a $10,000 purchase and then have someone order a $100 purchase, and your average order value is blended together. So it's kind of like you have one really, really good customer that day, and then two really okay ones, like low product ones. Your average order value is out of whack. So what I would look at is almost like the median. What type of value are they buying most often? And that takes some work. There are, if you're in e-commerce, there's definitely a ton of apps that could pull that out for you. But that's what I would look at because, we could have a $100,000 a month client in the agency, and we could have a $10,000 a month client. It doesn't mean, we're at a $55,000 average value, right? If we only have 2 clients, doesn't mean our average order value is 55,000. If we have 10 clients at 50,000, at 5,000, and 1 client at 100,000, it makes more sense to sit there and say we're probably around the 5,000. So that's why I think it's a little bit of a misleading number that people try to adjust to it, but they could have it changes.
Unless you do remove the outliers from the get-go.
So that's one. So yeah. So one way is you look at the median, look at the numbers people are buying more often, or just remove anything that's over X amount. If you sell one product and it's $35 and they should only be buying one, remove anyone who's bought more than one, right? If someone makes a bulk order for 100 units, they don't count in your average order value. So there's, what I was meaning is people just look at that number and assume that that's the number when it's not. It's a little bit tainted.
Thanks.
Great. Anyone else? So I guess it was all
Oh.
about content something. Yep.
We're still going.
Another
Yeah.
one.
I had one more question.
Sure.
What's your sales ops stack? The tools you use, the best one?
So our stack right now is so we have landing page, then we have we use, like I said, Infusionsoft and Keep. That goes into close.io. So we use Close as our sales tool. That allows for a bunch of different follow-ups in many different ways. So for depending on what we're using, we use Fix My Funnel for SMS. Plus this to do certain integrations that Zapier can't, as well as plus this does. For, like, let's say Calendly is our booking page. Calendly goes through plus this into our Keep, which goes into Close, and then we also then we also get notified in Slack. So something you should know: our entire business is built on Slack. Everything happens in Slack. If you want to reach me, I'm in Slack. Like that's the place where I live. That everything gets notified because you can push everything in there. Client communication only happen in Slack, right? So clients are not allowed to email us problems that they're having. They have to come inside Slack. We just keep everything simplified that way. And then Stripe for payments, and Fix My Funnel with like Twilio or something like that for an SMS number that allows us to do it. And that's like pretty much the stack.
Thanks.